What year were you born?
1931, July the 8th.
And what is your full name?
Clifford Allen Pearson.
And were you named after anybody?
Yes, my dad's brother.
And what is your first, most vivid memory?
You know, I don't remember a lot. Seemed like the only good memories when I was real young. I remember when Gwinnell was born, and we went to the hospital to see her, and Bud, my dad, told me about it several times, you know, and I said, I don't want no damn baby sister.
That's what you said?
Yeah, what I said. But anyway, I remember us going down that hallway to look at Gwinnell. And then as a young boy, I had a neighborhood kid that we used to fish together all the time, go down the creeks and things and catch them little perch like we was doing today. But as far as before that, I cannot remember hardly anything.
Is Gwinnell your only sibling?
Yes.
Is she younger or older?
She's younger. 4 years younger.
Do you remember what the house was like that you grew up in?
Oh, yeah. We had first we had a real old house out in the country there, 4.5 miles back east of Keller. It was an old frame house. Had no running water. We had no well there that we drew the water out of with a bucket. And we had a outhouse down about 100 yards. And that's when we wanted to go to the bathroom. Other than pee, we didn't worry about that. But we walked that 100 yards to go down to the bathroom, and that old wooden thing with a Sears catalog or Montgomery catalog in there, and that was our bath where we went for the bathroom.
And that was your toilet paper? The
That
Sears
was our
catalog?
toilet paper.
Can you describe the neighborhood that you grew up in?
Well, it was strictly little houses and little 100-acre farms and such as that now all around us, and everybody had about 100 acres to try to make a living on. Old sandy land, and all done with teamwork. I saw my mother and my dad out there both working with a team of mules, plowing and planting and harvesting. Mostly we planted corn and hay and a little bit of cotton. But anyway,
Tell me about your parents. When were they born?
I believe my dad was born in 1919.
And what was his full name?
Charles Allen Pearson. I'm trying to think of my mother's name. I'm having a mental block.
Well, Young is
Yeah.
her last name.
Nellie Mae Young. Nellie Mae Young. And she was about 3 or 4 years younger than my dad. And, anyway, I had a great father and a great mother.
Where were you born at?
At Keller, I was born out about 4.5 miles east of Keller there, and we didn't leave there for a long time till I was grown. Lived in the same area.
What about your parents? Do you know where were they from?
As far as I know, my dad was from El Buckle, Tennessee, and I think mother come from a little town called Waxahachie. That's where her father and mother lived, and they were all farmers.
How did you grow up? Were your parents strict?
No. I don't ever remember them being very strict. I would never let my kids do what they let me do. I kind of just went and had a horse, rode everywhere I wanted to go just ride the country, the creeks, just done what we pleased. If we didn't have chores to work or school, we we just roamed, me and some of my buddies, and had a good time.
Do you have any vivid memories of something that you did that you were disciplined for?
Well, I was disciplined. When I was disciplined, it was hard. Well, one time I had a neighbor up the road, and he had a big old heavy-set wife. Heavy-set is mildly, but anyway, Dick, her husband, chewed a lot of this brown mule. So one day when they were gone, me and my other friend that I was talking about, we used to fish with, we went up there and stole that brown mule he had, a little package of brown mule. we was chewing that brown mule. Boy, I got sick as a horse, and vomited and everything else. And with that day that I got so sick, me and my sister was out there herding cows because we didn't have a fence on that part of the land, trying to keep them out of the road. So we were out there doing it, and I was vomiting around. She didn't know what the problem was. Anyway, the next morning, Ollie, Dick's wife, this 400 or 500 pound lady, she come walking down the road, and the other kid that I was talking about, Jimmy Englehart, he lived before he got to my house, and she had Jimmy Englehart by the neck, lead him down to our house, and we had stolen his chewing tobacco, and of course I heard talking to my dad out there, and those kids stole Dick's chewing tobacco. Then I hollered at my dad, Cliff! And I come out there. I said, did you all steal Dick's Blackwoods or Dick's chewing tobacco? Nope, we did not steal that tobacco. And of course, he believed me. And she was a big liar. And so, you know how parents are, they all want to believe their kids.
Yeah.
Well, he did believe me, but it was wrong. And after a little while, she went back, stopping back, and he said, I never did believe that old lying bitch. But anyway, I got several lickings through the, but when I did, it was a hard licking.
Wasn't there a story about how you took your dad's car? Didn't he have a brand new car?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this was right after the war. They didn't make cars for a long time, during the war. Well, my dad, we were very poor. We didn't have much money, but my dad did have $1,000 in the bank. And at that time, you could buy that Ford car for about $1,000 brand new. I think that was in '46, right after the war. And so I had to try it out. And he was so good to me. My dad...
Did he give you permission to take it, or did you just...
Oh, yeah, he gave me permission to take it. And so me and my buddy then, I was already 46, I was what, 31... I was 15 or 16 years old. I was old enough to have a little sense. But anyway, he let me have it, and I picked up another one of my running mates, and we dated together. And I took it down the Grapevine Highway, and I said, let's see what it'll do. And I got it up to 100 miles an hour. I come over this hill. There was a car, looked like it was backing up on top of me. I was coming on it so fast, so I slammed on the brakes. Got over the edge of the gravel, and there was fishtailing. And it went down the road, finally it went in the ditch, and it turned over on the top, and then just slid along for about 100 feet off with the top of the car. We both got up, and we was laying there in a car, about half knocked out, and my buddy, he was in the front seat, he was in the back time we landed, and he said, oh, I got a piece of glass stuck in my back, and what he was doing, he was smoking, and he was laying on the top of the roof of the car, upside down, with a cigarette underneath him, burning through his little shirt of whatever kind he had on. And then here come a bunch of people, and they come by and to look at it and see it wasn't hurt. The windshield was mashed down about like that, so you could see through it. And they had a bunch of people that all stopped, and we turned the thing upside down. And then I drove like this, trying to see through the peephole. It started, and I got home, and I parked around the side of the house. We had moved up to Amy, my dad's old home place at that time, and so I parked the car kind of where he couldn't see it. And I said, told him, I said, got something to show you. And I was really hurt because I knew how much that new car was worth. No insurance at that time. We didn't do that kind of stuff. And he didn't have the money to buy another one. And I felt so bad. And so I went back there to show it to him. He looked at it, didn't say a word. Said, go park it around there at the back so Mama, Dale won't see it.
Wow.
When she drove in, she didn't want, oh gosh. I mean, talk about hurt. I was hurt not as bad as he was. Maybe more, but anyway. Anyway, we got it fixed. I don't remember now whether he traded in, got another, or what happened, but anyway. It wasn't no catastrophe, and life goes on.
Did your parents have a good marriage?
Yes, very good. As far as I knew, I don't believe I even heard them fight much. You know, argue a little bit. Very little, really hard arguments or anything that I ever remember seeing. They were very good parents.
What kinds of things did your family spend money on?
Gosh, we didn't spend much money, just living, you know. Every once in a while we'd go to the movie theater in Grapevine on a Saturday night and buy a bag of popcorn. My dad, my mom, and one of my buddies and Gwinnell, we'd go to the movie Grapevine and watch it, and very little money did we spend. I don't think we had enough to worry about.
Did you have grandparents?
Yes, but they were both dead and gone by that time. My dad's parents were, and then I still had, I don't remember what years my mother's parents died. They may have already been gone too by this time. I do remember we used to go to their house every Sunday, all mothers, sisters, and their brothers. Everybody went to her house. We all had a big old dinner over there, and all his cousins would get there, and we'd all play and have a good time. One time here's one of those deals I got my butt whipped. We were there, and my mother's dad was custodian of the school up there, cleaned the school. The school was right behind his house, and so he had a key, so we'd go up to the gym and play basketball and do what we wanted to. One time we climbed some towers out there and got a bunch of bird eggs, threw them bird eggs all over the gym at each other. Then I got a whipping. But just kid stuff,
What were your grandparents' names?
All I could tell you, Aaron Young, and I can't even think of we called them Mommy Young and Daddy Young. That's all we ever called them. That's what all the kids called them, and that's all I ever really knew.
What were you like as a child? What kind of things did you like to do for fun?
My fun as a young boy was always riding my horse and going down on the creek and fishing, that kind of stuff. We didn't do much else and maybe going to the movie every once in a while was a big thrill. At Christmas time, Clifford, the one I was named after, worked on a mail route, and they had a manufacturing company of fireworks. Well, he'd always give my uncle all this big old box of fireworks, and I looked so much forward to that. We had a great time for days shooting all those fireworks off and things like that. But mostly it was running the creeks and going down there swimming. We was a kid, we'd all jerk our clothes off and just jump in the water down there, and everybody went nude, you know, and nothing to it, you know. The snakes, everything, we didn't pay much attention to it.
Did you have chores that you had to do?
Oh yeah, you had to go. If you give your chores like to feed the chickens or feed the cows or the horses, whatever, you know, and we had a barn full of corn with stucks on it. We'd go down there and shuck the corn and put it out for the horses and things. Yeah, well, we had always had some chores.
Did you get paid an allowance?
No.
No. What kind of school did you go to?
We first, when I first went to the school there, the first grade, I went to a little school there, and it was just a building with all the classes in it, up to, I guess, high school. And the class I went to was like 1 through 3 or something. You know, they were like 3 or 4 grades in one room. And we would, I don't know how, I remember now how we did it exactly, but the whole school was like in a little bitty wooden building there, and then we had an outdoor outhouse. Anyway, my buddy that I talk about so much, Pascal, he was in that privy with his, he had one of these aviator hats on the couch, you know, with the goggles to pull down, trying to be an aviator. Well, some kid threw a rock over the top of that privy, you know, didn't have a top on it, and hit him across the head, and cut his head up pretty good. But I only went there 1 year, and then Keller, somehow we moved to Keller because it was a bigger school, and so we ended up in Keller, and that's where I finished out my 11 grades.
11, not 12?
Not 12. Then it was only 11 grades. What they did, everybody that was going to school at that time, they just upped everybody 1 grade.
Were you a good student?
No, not very good.
What was your least favorite subject?
I never applied myself like I should have. I wasn't smart enough to do any of it, but I never applied myself like I should have. And I guess my favorite was typing and math. I had a math teacher was taught my dad, and she taught me at the same school. And she'd get me mixed up with my dad and call me Bud all the time, Mrs. Bates. But anyway, I could have been a lot better student if I'd have just applied myself at it. But I did all right. I ended up passing, but it's a shame that you don't try to do a little better.
Well, who were some of your friends?
Well, my main friend was Pascal White, Bob Couch, Richard Sharpless. I don't remember, just it was most little old Englehart boy, Jimmy Englehart. Just the kids, only friends we had was just the kids that lived out there around me, you know, that I played with. That was it.
Did your family go on vacations?
I don't remember ever going on a vacation.
How did they celebrate, like family holidays, Christmas and Thanksgivings? And
We would all get together for that, you know, and most of the families get together for that.
do you remember any special traditions or anything that you had? Or
No, I don't remember anything special. Most of my family were religious, and the brothers, the sisters, and all, you know, of my mothers, and they all went to church. And but as far as Anything special? No.
Do you remember any kind of a gift as a child that was extra special to you?
Like I say, them fireworks. But they were the most special thing I got.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
I never even thought about that. I just ended up that job because I knew you had to work. And Pascal called me and said they were hiring, needed somebody else to work. You know, what I hired mainly for was to post checks. You know, we had these old, I believe they were Burris posting machines, and you just put your sheet in there, the guy's name on it and his balance, you started posting his checks by hand, with that machine. We double posted, and we're supposed to come out the same, you know. But that was just kind of thrown into my lap. I didn't really know of anything I wanted to do, never. And before I got involved with that, I just got involved, and I ended up staying there for 32 years.
What big world events do you remember from the time that you were growing up?
Of course, World War II, people that were so excited. It didn't mean that much to me at 11 years old, but it did to my parents, and that way they were talking to each other. That was a big influence on my life, and I was scared they were going to have to go to war, and I didn't know what war meant that much till later, you know. And you know, and like assassination of Kennedy, and been several things like that, but I can't think of anything. I remember Kennedy made a big impression on me in World War II.
What inventions do you remember the most?
Well, of course, computers come along and changed the whole world and changed banking as we knew it, and it was just everything was different, you know. And I think most of it because we just didn't want change. You know, nobody likes change. And anyway, we got used to it, and everything worked. And,
What about TVs?
oh, TV was a wonderful invention. Yeah, that was quite a treat that we had that TV in the house. Before that, all we had was a radio, and it was a battery radio, and you had to take it somewhere and charge the battery every once in a while, or you wouldn't have anything. And my dad, we listened to a few of these old things at night, but they'd only let you watch one or two because the battery would go dead, and you couldn't. They didn't want that battery dead, so that was it. And then we got electricity, and I was about 10 years old, about 9 or 10, when we got electricity. And I remember my first cousin, used to come to my house and help me with my grades. We was working with that old lamp, you know, and underneath it trying to see. And we didn't have a telephone in the house for a long time, or anything really. And but it didn't know any better really.
What's different today about growing up than from when you were growing up?
Everybody knows too much at too young an age.
Loss of innocence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get into trouble at too young age, too much going on. You can do anything, see anything. Everything is out there right in the open. And every kid wants to investigate it. And I might have to, but there wasn't nothing much for us to see. One time I had a friend, we was working at Leonard Brothers, one of those all-day Saturday deals, and him and another kid was going to Oklahoma. And they said that they were going to go rob a house up there. Wanted to know if I wanted to go. I said, no, I don't want to go. And I don't remember whether they ever did it or not, but I sure didn't go with them.
That's good. You had enough sense to.
Yeah.
Did you go to college or?
No, I didn't. I did take several banking classes after I went to work at the bank and worked my way up. They had a school for that you could take different courses in, and I took several courses on money and lending money and different kinds, of anything that help you in the bank, which I enjoyed that. Me and my secretary would go and always have a drink on the way home. But anyway, we had a good time.
Did you ever serve in the military?
No, I was, at that time I had 3 kids, I think, when the Korea broke out. And so they gave me a deferment. Maybe I had 2 kids. They gave me a deferment, and I didn't have to go. And then it kept going along, and they kept raising your eligibility because of how many kids you had and all that. First you were married, and then 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids. And I seemed to always be a kid ahead of them and was never drafted. So, and I wasn't trying to get drafted either, but I wasn't really trying to stay out. I was just, it just worked that way. All my buddies nearly all went.
What job did you have before you started at the bank?
Well, my first job was milking cows by hand at about probably 8, 9 years old. There was a neighbor had a little dairy about a mile from our place, and they had a few cows and everything by hand. So I would go over there before school and help her milk them cows by hand. And after school, afternoon, I'd go by and help her milk those cows by hand. And I was making 50 cents a week. 50 cents a week. But anyway, it was my first job.
And so how long did you work at the bank? Was that the second job that you had, or?
Well, I worked at Leonard Brothers, while I was still in school on those weekends, the big grocery store, and they had everything, dry goods, all kinds. And that's where I worked for a couple of years, just doing different things. Mostly, they had a checkout stand where everybody come to check in their groceries as they did their other shopping, and we'd put it in a little booth, and they'd come back when they'd ready, and then we had boys, and I was one of those boys, and they'd carry them to your car. And sometimes we'd get a dime tip, sometimes a nickel, and we had 1 or 2 people. When the boat, their buggies was loaded, they'd give you a quarter sometimes. And boy, now that was a pretty big treat. And but we worked there 10, 11 hour a day for that $4 I was telling you about.
And how
She got
old
a
were
few
you?
tips. Huh?
How old were you at that time?
I was probably, let's see, probably about 13.
And how did you get to work?
Sometimes we had to hitchhike. Sometimes that was one of the places that hired people. And out in the country, there's very limited places to work. And there was a lot of people out in our area that did work at that store or close. And we would ride with them sometime, or I would. And but if they wasn't ready to come home, I'd get out of that little old store and stick my thumb out, and I would be gone.
Did you ever worry about hitchhiking? No.
Never thought about it.
Did you ever have any experiences when you hitchhiked?
One experience I did have is this Mexican man picked me up, and me and Pascal, we'd both worked there a 10-hour day or 12-hour, whatever it was. From 7 in the morning to 10 at night. What is that? Anyway, we was going out to 377 from Fort Worth to Keller, and he pulled over on this side road. I was in the middle and Pascal's on the end, side but next to the door. He stuck his arm around Pascal before I knew what had happened, and stuck a knife right up to his neck right there, and wanted our money. We sat and begged and said we didn't have no money and all this stuff. And after probably 30, 40 minutes, he let us loose, and we saved our $4 apiece.
Did you tell your mom and dad about that?
Oh, yeah.
And they still let you hitchhike?
Oh, yeah. Well, everybody hitchhiked then. It wasn't no big deal.
How did you meet Mom?
Oh, I had a little, back then in the cellar, we had a big gym and a little Jimmy Dean concert. And here I was, we got married in, 1950. And I was already working at the bank. And she was at concert, and she had on shorts, kind of like here and there, you know, and then she had those nice big bosoms. Bree had a hell of a good looking gal, and she was like her, had all that pretty suntan, and so I got to talking to her out there, outside of the building there, and I got her phone number and all of that. And she was so pretty then, and anyway, I went home, and I was going with another girl at that time, and I told Bobby Joe about her. I said, Bobby Joe, go ask her for a date. Cute as she can be. And
You asked Bobby Joe to ask Mom for a
yeah,
date?
yeah. And but he was going with a girl too at that time. But anyway, I don't know. One night, me and Bob and her went on our first date, and I was with her. Bob, we went to a baseball game, and on the way home, we had these old cars, always old car junkers, and we run out of gas. The true run out of gas deal, and there it was already 11 o'clock. She's 15. She might not even been 15, but I think she was 15 then. And we out on the highway, and first time their parents had ever seen me or her, any of us. So then there wasn't no service station close. We finally hitchhiked back to where there's a little place to buy gas, and then got a gas can, come back. We finally got some gas. We got home about 2 or 3 in the morning on our first date.
How did that go over with?
You
her
know
Mom and
that
Dad?
Bree's daddy and mama, they were about as easy on her as my dad and mother was on me. I can't understand it, but they were. And I would have killed one of my daughters if they'd have done that way. But anyway, we did get her home, and then I started going out with her a few times, and I fell madly in love with her. And I think in about 6 months, I talked to her daddy and asked him if we could get married. And you know, he was a gruffy old man. Anyway, he never did say much. We ended up getting married there in Smithfield, little parsonage.
What kind of a wedding did you have?
It wasn't a very big wedding. It was just me and Bree, my best man. At that time it was Pascal. And did Bree have any ladies with her? I think just us and our parents went to the parsonage, and the preacher married us. The heck of it is, I went by to pick up Harold because it was snowing, ice all over the ground that night, on November the 10th, 1950. And I picked him and Betty up there, his wife, and we went over to parsonage, got over there to get married. Reverend Millsap was our preacher there at the church for several years. Anyway, he says, where's the license? Naturally, me, I'd lost the damn license. So when I got up there to pick up Harold, they fell out I had one of them top coats on, they fell out on the ground. So anyway, after him talking to some judges and things, anyway, he decided to go ahead and marry us anyway, without the license. So the next day I went and found those licenses over in the sleet and the ice, so there was ice all over everything. Then I had another buddy that I worked with, Jack Bagby, and his wife. And he lived there in Fort Worth, but he had some kinfolks at Nederland or somewhere. I don't think that's the exact town, in East Texas. And so we went with them on our honeymoon. We didn't have a car. All I had was that car that it wouldn't have made it. And I think I had that old 36 Chevrolet. Anyway, he dropped us off at the motel. He went on over to his kinfolk, spent the night, the day, come back, picked us up, took us back to Keller. That was our honeymoon. Pretty exciting, wasn't it?
What was the first big purchase that you and Mom made together?
Well, the night after we'd been married, it was this Buddy's store, which is a grocery store and a little all kind of gadgets. We went to that store and bought all of our household grocery items, all of our staples. I bought an ironing board and I don't know, so many different things. And I had that old 36 Chevrolet full, and I think it was $18. $18, it was our biggest investment we'd made. Covered all of our staples and groceries and ironing board. I remember that in particular because we had it for 30 years. And I don't know what else, but a few things like that, coffee pots and things like that.
Where was your first house with you and Mom?
Well, we moved into a little old house up in Keller with a neighbor. I mean, it wasn't a neighbor, but a lady that lost her husband. And we had our bedroom. We had our bathroom, and we shared the kitchen and the living room and the other with the old lady. And we just had that little bedroom, and it was 20 bedroom, and we could cook, bake a little bit of cooking if we wanted to. $25 a month, and we stayed there about 6 months to a year, and then we found another place there in Keller that didn't have to stay with somebody else, had our own little room, and I think it was $45 a month, but it was a lot better. But at that time, I had got raised to $165 a month, about $85 a month, and so we managed to make it on that $165 a month.
What made Mom so special or unique?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. So many things. Fun, loving, just, I don't know. I think about it all the time.
She was kind of your best friend, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. We did everything together, like hunt, fish, do everything. She was a good shot, could kill a deer as well as I could. She could fish as well as I could, catch as many fish, and she was one of those ladies that was just fun all the time. She was always bouncy around and loved life. I was so blessed to have got her for my 56 years.
How many?
I think about her every day.
How many kids did you and Mom have together?
We had 4, 2 boys and 2 girls. We had Ricky, the oldest, and then David, and then Cindy, and then Gina. And what a blessing each one of them was.
How did you come up with the names? Were we named after anybody in particular, or?
No, not anybody in particular at all. It wasn't named after anybody. Well, Alan was, I guess, from Ricky, but other than that, nobody.
Do you have any particular story about any of the kids that sticks out in your mind?
Well, I can think of a few. My little daughter, Gina. I can think of a few of her. One night, she had my little car running off in the ditch, going down the road too fast. One night, I had to get her up, get her out of a bedroom in some old boy's house.
Okay, no, we don't have to go there, Dad. You are going to edit this, right?
Cut all that out.
Thank
It's all
you.
good.
That wasn't exactly the funny story I had in mind,
You know it's going to be an interrogation on you.
right?
No, I've had wonderful kids. Ricky, of course, is paranoid schizophrenic, and I don't know of any reason he has it, but it's had a very tough life. The rest of the families all had great lives, and it's just one of those things in life we don't know about. Nothing we can do about it. But I've been very blessed with children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. I love every minute of it.
What was the best part about raising kids?
I think when they're grown, really, for me, now Bree enjoyed every minute of it all through life, but this time in life is the greatest for me.
What do you think the hardest part was about raising kids?
Well, then you was always scared they was going to get in trouble, get pregnant, or some kind of bull, which, and the trouble then was nothing beside what it is this day and time, but I guess I was always worried about those things.
What's the most memorable vacation that we took together as a family?
I think as a family, the time that we went, where did we go to? Canada, and all that vacation had that little 62 Impala Super Sport and loaded down, and that was a big vacation and a bit long drive, and seen a lot of beautiful country as a family. I don't know whether the family enjoyed it, but I certainly did. Seeing the rivers, the change of the country, and the different trees, and the water territory, and so forth. I had a lot of nice vacations.
What do you think the best thing is about being a parent?
Well, their love for each other, and I don't know, a family's great, really. I mean, everybody needs those kids. Maybe not as much when they're young as they do during their lifetime. They're certainly a blessing to me now. Every day, I mean, I'm so blessed that you and Larry and Sidney and David will come up and see me and just have somebody to run around with. I've been very independent, but I managed by myself very good, but I enjoy children, grandchildren. And I've been very blessed.
And how long were you and Mom married?
56 years.
And then Mom passed away on what year?
2006. What was it? May the 30th?
29th or 30th. I
Yeah,
can't remember for
2006.
sure.
Very easy, she passed away, but a hard fight through the way. Very sad time.
Yeah.
Man, you never forget them. Never forget. I think I've thought more about her the last few months than I have since she's been gone. I mean, I've really thought about her. I thought, oh, I better get to heaven because she's going to be there and I got to get there with her too.
Well, don't get in any big hurry. What kind of things bring you the most pleasure now?
Friends, family.
What about when you were younger? What were those things?
Fishing, hunting, traveling, that kind of stuff. I always big on wanting to go somewhere. I always wanted to see what's over the next hill. Always. And after I retired, me and Mama I retired in 1985, and we for about 4 years, all we did is travel. Just up and down every highway in the United States.
How old were you when you retired?
50 years old, nearly 51.
So what did you enjoy the most about your retirement?
Oh, I've done a lot of fishing. Me and Bree went to Mexico and stayed every winter for several years, and went all over the United States traveling. And, I don't know, each other. We had each other as a wife and a husband, and best friends. We didn't really need anybody. We enjoyed each other. And
Is that when you moved to Port Aransas? when you retired?
Yes. I think I bought that house about the same time I moved. I mean, I retired, I think. I only give, what was it, 130,000, 135,000.
And then when did you buy this place here at the ranch?
In 1999.
Do you have any hobbies or interests that you like to do now?
What I love to do now better than anything is good food, playing 42 with my friend John Harris, and me and him as partners. And we play every Thursday and sometimes on Tuesdays. And it's such a wonderful day, and we have so much fun kidding each other and just having a great time. That's my favorite thing now in life. And going to church. I enjoy going to church now. And
What things are most important to you now, and why?
I think praying that you and all the kids will live the kind of life that you know you should live, and that you'll worship our God, and that you will all be in heaven, and that we will all know each other again.
That's my wish too, Dad. How have your dreams and goals changed through your life?
Well, I've been a changer for a long time. I've had so many different hobbies, so many different things. I go through one after another, but I don't know. I've just enjoyed so many different hobbies. I change pretty frequently, but I just go wherever the wind takes me, seem like.
Are there any particular events that stand out in your mind, like say in your 20s or 30s or?
I think, I was a country boy, and then I got to work at a bank. You're supposed to act sophisticated and supposed to be a little more than plain old country. I never will forget, it always stood out in my life. We had this banking meeting one time with all the officers downtown at one of the finest hotels, and a big long table with all the big shots standing around, and we was having dinner. That was right after I become an officer of the bank. And that night we had nice steaks, and we had English peas and potatoes, and of course the salad, desserts, and drinks. Well, I was cutting up my steak, and it was on this side of my English peas. The knife slipped, hit the steak, that little piece of steak I got, slid off the plate, hit the English peas. Seemed like the English peas went for 20 feet down that table. And do you think I felt big? If I could have found a hole to crawl in, I would have crawled in it. But that's part of life. I wouldn't bother me anymore.
There's some ages we don't look forward to. What birthday were you the least enthusiastic about?
I believe 86.
This last one.
Yeah, because I know that at my age, at 86, I don't feel quite like I used to, and I'm not doing as well as I used to. And up till then, I've been doing about what I want to, and going where I want to, and I've enjoyed running around with all these old women. I've went out with several women, and just for fun, and dinner and drinks and things, and we have a good time.
If you could go back to any age, what age would it be?
Well, I think I would go back to me and Mama getting married.
Why do you choose that?
Those are the best times of my life. All through that period.
How do you feel now about growing older?
Well, I know you can't get out of it. the alternative's worse, and it don't bother me. I know I'm getting older, and it don't worry me. I know that time comes, I'm ready.
What's the hardest thing about it?
Getting sick and pain and not being able to do what you want to do.
What's the best thing about it?
You still got that chance to be with God. Living your life right.
How should a person prepare for old age? Is there anything that you wish that you had done differently?
Oh yeah, lots of things, I'm sure. I could have been a lot better father, a lot better husband. I could have done a lot of things better, honey. A lot of things. I wasn't no cream puff by any means. And as you grow older, you realize what a blessing you had, and you didn't take advantage of all of it. You can't go back to those times and correct it. Many a times that I've done things that I shouldn't have.
Would you want to live another 15 or 20 years?
You betcha.
What would you do if you did?
About what I'm doing right now. Just enjoying friends and family and going out to eat and praising our Lord.
What have you liked best so far about your life?
My goodness. I just think it's all been good. You know, I can't hardly complain. Been so blessed. You know, I went through cancer and all that stuff for 20-something years, and it's very worrisome, you know. Yeah, I thought many times I wasn't going to make it, you know. And it just keeps on going, and I don't know.
What would you think your happiest or proudest moments have been?
Well, I think it's family, of course. Family. Always family.
What do you think the most difficult thing is that's ever happened to you? And how did you deal with it?
Well, the thing I worried more about is when I started fighting cancer there for 20-something years. It gave me a lot of anxiety. You know, I went to do Cisco's for every 3 months, every 6 months for the last 20 years. And every time the anxiety builds up before you go, and you just know that one time or another they're going to tell you that's it, you know. And that's one of the most difficult times I've had. I hadn't hardly had nothing wrong with me.
How did you get through with it and deal with it?
Of course, prayer, and family.
Are there times of your life that you remember more vividly than others that really stick out in your mind?
I think my banking days was a good time of my life. I enjoyed working, and we was like a big family at the bank. You know, everybody knew everybody, and we worked together. Then there wasn't much people that stayed with their job. Once they got there, they stayed there, you know, and tried to make a career out of it. And we all worked together for 20 and 30 years, a lot of us, and they don't do that anymore. But it was like a family, and I enjoyed every minute of that.
Is there a person or a situation from your childhood that had a profound effect on the way that you look at life?
My dad's brother, Clifford, I remember, he was another one of these. He got Holy Ghost when he was older, you know, and he was joined the Baptist church. And me and him and Harold, Harold Young, we went down to a lake in Mexico. Of course, me and Harold were wild, and that was when we were very young. I guess I was married then. I think I must have been. But anyway, we went down to Mexico, and you know, and he talked about the Lord a lot, and for all the meals and things. He'd always want to pray, and Pope was good to me. He had a job, you know, the post office job, and he'd always brought me the fireworks, and he'd give me a little money every once in a while, and things like that. And he didn't have any kids, and he kind of took me as one of his kids.
So he was pretty influential in your life. What do you know now that you wish you had known when you were young?
Oh, gosh. Well, I'd say I would do things different, but I doubt it. Here I'm still doing things I don't like to do. And they just, but I do them. And, you know, do things that, I don't know, Gina. That's a hard one.
Over time, how have you changed the way that you look at life in general or people?
Well, I've definitely grown closer to the Lord, closer. I've still got a long way to go. And other than that, I try to have fun, enjoy life, and do things for fun, you know. And the life is very short. It seems like it's forever when you're 20 years old, 30 or so. But believe me, these years fly by so quick. And I say enjoy the dickens out of life and do things while you're well and before you get sick and old.
Did you ever get any advice from your grandparents or parents that you really remember?
No,
Yeah.
not that I can remember. I'm sure they give me a lot.
What would be the best piece of advice that you would give someone else, maybe if a young person came to you asking what the most important thing is for living a good life? What would you say?
Know the Lord, praise the Lord. Love family. Be true.
What do you see as your purpose or place in life?
Boy, that's a good one. I don't know, honey. I know that I don't know what my purpose was. I've just kind of, you know me, I've kind of been by the seat of my britches all my life. I've done what I wake up in a different world every day, and I don't know.
What would you like your children and your grandchildren to remember about you?
Well, I try to be honest. I try to love each other. And love each other and be kind and praise God. And I don't know, just...
If you could write a message to each of your children or grandchildren, put it in a time capsule for them to read in 20 years, what would you want to tell them?
I told you so. Did you wake up?
Well, that's all the questions I had, Dad. So if you can think of anything else you'd like to elaborate on, or any stories that